Tin from Kayon here, and look what happens when we listen to our customers. We've got a whole heap of Maxtrax mounting options for your roof rack, and today we're going to go through the pros and cons of each. These are all our options for mounting Maxtrax onto your roof rack or your platform rack, and I'll just quickly go through them all. This is our standard raised Maxtrax mount. This is in order of how they've come about to life. These are our Tradesman Maxtrax mounts for the Tradesman rack with the rails on the side. These here are our flush mounts, which allow the Maxtrax to sit pretty much flush to the surface of the roof rack. Next we have our deflector mounts. So these ones here allow you to mount your Maxtrax on the front at 45 degrees. Really good for people with rooftop tents. Act as a bit of a deflector. We call it our deflector mount. We've got our side mount Maxtrax for those who want to free up a bit of space in the roof rack. And then we've got our stealth mounts, which fold, our folding mounts. So these are the stealth mounts. And generally they'll be mounted in the middle here, but we've just run out of room. And these are perfectly flat. Gives you back your space on your roof rack when you're not using them as Maxtrax mounts. And we've got the folding ones, which have a low profile, only 30 mil high off the deck, but this allows you to mount them in the east-west direction. So we'll go into a bit more detail as to what mount would suit you and what the differences are in these mounts. These are the original Maxtrax mounts that we came up with, the first ones we designed. They've got a 40 mil offset because the Maxtrax pins have got this extra bit of thread, and of course you don't want to be drilling holes in your roof rack, which is what people have resorted to mount their Maxtrax to the rack. You don't want to do that. So the other good thing about these mounts is that you can actually mount them both north-south and east-west. We've got these slots here that allow you to do that. They're made from 3 mil stainless steel and they've been lineaged so there's no real sharp edges. And then the next type of bracket we came up with, because we had some customers who had the tradesman style racks with the rails on the side, we call them originally very inventively the tradesman's mounts. And so the only difference with these is they're just a little bit tighter so they can fit on the roof rack if you've got the rails on there. Again, made out of 3 mil stainless steel, brushed and lineaged. Some people didn't like the fact that they were sitting a little bit higher, so along came our next version of the Maxtrax mount, and I dare say our most popular. And the story behind this one is I actually saw someone who had mounted their Maxtrax to their roof rack, and they'd actually drilled holes through the slats so they could mount them nice and flush to the top of their platform rack. Now, you don't have to do that with these brackets. We've come up with a way, even though they look very simple, we've come up with a way to be able to mount the pins onto your roof rack without actually interfering with the slats. Now we've been able to do it for both directions, your north-south and east-west. We've got mounting holes for most of the popular platform racks, including your front runner, Yakima lock and load, Rola Titan, and your Rhino platform rack. Now these are made from really sturdy 4 mil powder coated stainless steel. Now we get a lot of questions about whether or not this could be used in a crossbar situation, because people have crossbars and they want to mount their Maxtrax without having to put hockey straps on them. Now, you can if you are able to adjust the spacing of your crossbars, but we've come up with a better solution. We call it the crossbar recovery holder. Now, what this is it's got a whole bunch of slots here, which allows you to mount, let's say my arms are crossbars, mount them to the crossbars, and then your pins go on the top there. Now, this has both holes for your Maxtrax and your tread, and also the shorter treads as well. So these are the crossbar recovery board holders. If the flush mounts won't work, we actually recommend these. These will actually make it much more rigid and a much more secure way to mount to your crossbars. Okay, this bracket here we came up with after coming back from a trip from the Simpson and seeing all these people strap their Maxtrax to the front of their rooftop tents. Every second vehicle had a rooftop tent. We call this the deflector mount. So what this does is it mounts your Maxtrax at a 45-degree angle, designed to be mounted on the front of your rack. Again, uses the same pins to make it easy to remove. These are made from 4mm stainless steel as well, nice and sturdy. We've got options for the 1.2 metre 4-slat version and the wider 5-slat versions. Now, if you're one of those people who load up your rack and you need more space, these are the side mounts. They also give you a really good access to your Maxtrax. You don't have to sort of climb over the top. So the way these work, on the side here like that, and lock them in place. Also good if you like to show off your Maxtrax. Now, one little difference that we've incorporated is that these are actually adjustable up and down. We've got multiple positions and a couple of different angles as well. On the back here, we've got holes for a shovel mount, so you can put your shovel on the back of your Maxtrax. And the other thing we've done is we've made sure that we attach to the second slat. Now, we know what corrugations can do, so having the Maxtrax on the side here, cantilevered bouncing around, you really do want that extra support. So these are our side mount Maxtrax holders for those who like to show off, or those that are just a little bit too short to be able to get the Maxtrax off the roof. This mounting bracket here is actually a suggestion from a customer. Pretty good suggestion too. So these mounts here actually allow you to fold the pins down when you're not actually needing to mount your recovery boards on your roof rack, which means that this only sits 30mm off the surface of your roof rack compared to about 130mm. Now, really handy if you've got that big lift or your garage is just that little bit too low for you to get in. Other thing you can do with these aren't mounted the right way at the moment, but you can mount them so they both fold the same way. So if you're a little bit forgetful, it'll just sort of knock your pins down. So these folding mounts, they can be mounted both north, south and east, west across the rack. Made from stainless steel, and we've got mounting holes to suit Rola Tyre and Rhino platform. Okay, so we took the folding concept that one step further, and we've come up with these mounts, which we call the stealth mounts, because these pins actually fold down in between the slats and give you an even flusher, flatter profile, which means you can actually put, say, a surfboard or a kayak on top of this. Now, to be able to achieve this, you can only mount it in the north-south direction because the pins have to fold into the gaps between the slats. They're also made out of 4mm stainless steel and will fit your Rhino platform and your Rola Titan roof racks. We really like these. It means you can keep your brackets on your roof rack and sort of fold them down as needed. Another couple of options, and these are for the back of your car. These go on your spare wheel. So we'll talk about this first one here. This, if you pretend that I'm a wheel, this goes on the back here and it's mounted onto standard high lift jack holder. Now that sort of clamps in there, allows you to adjust it up and down. We've got a bit of an offset too, so if you wanted to have it to one side or towards the middle. What this actually allows you to do is, when you've got the pins on there, they actually allow you to lock your Maxtrax to the back of the tyre. So we call that the rear wheel Maxtrax holder. Now, this is a new one. This is designed to mount on the side of your tyre. So it's the outback mount, we call it, and our universal tyre mount. Now, this is held onto the tyre with a ratchet strap. You've got heaps of holes there to adjust the position of this mount. It's even offset, so whether your tyre's in or out, you can get a good position for it. Where you'd want to use this is when you're wanting to run a bin bag, or you've got too much stuff on your roof rack, or even if you just don't want to block your reversing camera. We've come up with some options for ARB BASE Rack. Now, we've had to rethink how to attach to these because they've got a unique dovetail arrangement. So we've got the standard Maxtrax mounts in an east-west direction. These allow you to mount your Maxtrax flush, fixed pins, but it also has a couple adjustments left and right. Now, these are made from 4mm stainless steel and powder coated. Now, if you want a folding option, we've got two options for ARB BASE Rack, and both of these are in the stealth style, in which the pins fold pretty much flush with the top of the base rack, allowing you to use your roof rack for surfboards and kayaks and so forth when you're not running recovery boards. For those of you who want to maximise your roof space, we've got the side mount Maxtrax. Now, we've attached to the front and to one of the crossbars on the side, so really sturdy. We've also incorporated a folding option for the pins, so when you're not using them, you can fold them away, less likely to hang up on trees and so forth. There's adjustment up and down as well as adjustment for the angle. There's 2 or 3 adjustments for the angle as well. Shovel holder on the back too. Quick fists, you can mount them on the back so you can have your shovel as well as your traction boards, recovery boards on the front there. All of our mounts are designed to work with Maxtrax pins. They're a really good way to secure your boards to our mounts. Now, people don't realise that these pins here actually can carry either 2, which we have here, 2, or on the higher level, 4. So you can put another 2 in there. They're also lockable, so once you turn it, there's a hole there and you can lock them in place. Now, the other thing that some people don't know is other brands of recovery boards have similar spacing. So I'd just like to show you here. This is a Tread board, Tread Pro or Tread HD, and this is a Maxtrax. You can see the spacing, the 270 spacing, very similar, and also the 890 spacing is very similar. Now, I've got this mounted onto some Maxtrax pins because their holes are elongated, but the problem is they don't quite mount properly. Like, there's a bit of slop there. You can use the Tread style mounting pins. Now, I've got a Tread pin here, but the difference you'll see is it uses an M6 bolt, which is quite small, and you can see the Maxtrax is a 10 mil. Now, you can use them, but they're not ideal. This crossbar recovery board actually has the M6 holes for the Tread pins, but most of our other mounts have a 10 mil hole for the M10 bolts that Maxtrax use. This is what you need to do if you want to use a Tread pin in one of these larger Maxtrax holes, pin holes. You just have to use a big washer. Not ideal, but will get you out of trouble. Just means you need to line up the pins a little bit more secure, because there's a bit of slop there. Just need to make sure you center them on the hole and tighten them up. So as you can see, we've got an option for pretty much every scenario, whether it be just your simple mounts on top, your deflector or side mount options, your folding mounts for that really stealthy look, or even options for your crossbars, the mounting your Maxtrax on your crossbars, and rear wheel options too, whether you're on the front of the rear wheel or on the side of the rear wheel. So if you have any other suggestions, we'll consider it, but hopefully all these have covered most of the options.